Welcome to the Masculine Health Solutions podcast. Today, we will be talking about how to build muscle. That's right, how to build muscle, how to bulk. You want to put on some extra pounds? We're going to dive into the simplest way to go about doing this. I'm your host, Conrad Rodriguez. All right, guys, let's jump in. Welcome back to another episode here at the Masculine Health Solutions podcast, where we answer different questions in relations to bodybuilding, penis enlargement, penis enhancement, and, well, different things that men kind of have questions about. So today's topic came about when a client, obviously I've been working with for a bit, and we've been putting on muscle mass, and he's, we're just talking about muscle building, and I figured, it'd probably be a good subject to cover. There's a lot of BS out there, in regards to people saying that you got to consume about 2 grams of protein to put on muscle mass and all this other jazz, where I'm just like, that's not really true. And at Masculine Health Solutions, I'm all about trying to make it in the simplest way possible so you don't waste your time with a lot of BS. The first thing I'm going to talk about in regards to building muscle is you don't really need half of the supplements they're trying to sell you out there. Most guys, if you're eating a well-balanced diet, you're getting good nutritious food in, you don't really need BCAAs, you don't need to be taking, Muscle Tech's new test booster. And honestly, a lot of the natural or the test boosters that you see that exist in a lot of the grocery stores or Walmart and that, like, sure, Tribulus terrestris and horny goat weed and all the other things, they may boost your libido a little bit, may help you get erections in the morning. But as far as actually helping you build muscle mass from like massive testosterone gains, not really the case. It may help a little bit of energy in that. But a lot of the stuff that they're trying to sell you in the grocery stores, you don't really need. You don't really need them. And the first thing we'll talk about is nutrition and supplements, I guess. And like I said before, if you're getting good nutrition in, right, you want to make sure you get a good solid amount of protein, but you want to focus on getting a good amount of quality carbs. The reason why you want carbs is that, you need that glycogen in your muscle so that you can do more sets. It can recover faster. Obviously, protein synthesis will occur at the muscle from the micro tears that you create from the stimulus that you put on it from the workouts, right? But you do want that you want those carbs in you. You want that energy in you. If you've ever seen a bodybuilder that's on a cut and kind of at the end of it, where buddy's only getting tiny bits of carbohydrates in, ask him how he feels about, when he's working out. I had a buddy who was down to 4% body fat, looks spectacular. Like, this guy looked like just unreal. I'm talking shredded glutes, Christmas tree on the back. Like, this guy looked like a human anatomy. Just looked freaking spectacular. And every single workout that he did for that last week right before his competition, he told me he felt like he was going to die. Just told me he felt awful. Looked spectacular, though. It's just spectacular. But buddy was just like, he's like, I am just so exhausted all the time. He's like, I would just kill to eat a pizza. But you know what? That's kind of the sacrifice you got to make if you want to get to about 4% body fat, just have your muscles looking shredded, just looking diced. But on the opposite side of the spectrum, if you're looking to put on muscle, you're not looking to be lethargic. You're not looking to be shredded, Obviously, you do want to maintain some quality muscle mass, right? But you want to make sure that your nutrition's on point by consuming the right amount of carbohydrates, consuming the right amount of protein. Everybody's different. But, one thing I will say right off the bat is you don't need 2 grams of protein. I think it was bodybuilding.com or one of these websites recommended that you get 2 grams of protein per body weight. Guys, that is just excessive. I mean, for me, I would have to eat about 440 grams of protein. I don't think I could do it, tell you the truth, But what they're trying to do is just sell you more shakes, right? Say, hey, buy more of these supplements. They'll have you covered. And the problem is with protein shakes, guys, is that because there's no fat readily available in it, the way that we find, protein in nature, your body has a little bit more of a difficult time absorbing it. If you are going to consume protein shakes like I do from time to time, I try to mix it up with some fat, put some coconut oil, some cream. It just allows your body to absorb it better, right? Because a lot of the times if you just drink the protein shakes in and out, and you think you're absorbing it, but you're really not. Like, your body's pissing away probably 80% of it, keeping about 20% of it. Protein synthesis occurs, and then all that excess calories, the excess calories are like any other excess calories, man. They're going to get stored as fat, right? Your body does take more time to digest protein, but from naturally occurring sources. I mean, you think chicken breast, your body's going to take more time, obviously, to break that down versus a protein shake. And you don't really want to waste the calories that you do have on liquids, even if you're bulking. But the one thing I will say is that you want to get good quality food sources. Your body knows how to break it down. The micronutrients are in there. You don't have to take the BCAAs. You don't have to take a whole bunch of other supplements that they recommend if you have a good nutritious diet, right? So first thing to note, get a good nutritious diet. What does that look like? Well, the one thing that I would suggest, even though you can eat whatever you want when you're bulking, when you're looking to put on muscle mass, you can have that extra pizza. You can have, that extra bowl of pasta that you want. Obviously, what I would recommend, though, is before you do anything, find out what you need as far as maintenance goes. So how many calories do you need to maintain your body weight? If you need 2,500 calories to maintain your body weight, but you want to put on some muscle mass, try to consume an extra 500 calories. See how that goes. If you start to see that you're getting too fat or you're okay with it, you can always bring it up or bring it down. But you have something to use almost as a regulator. If you don't, then you're just kind of be all over the place. And one day you may consume 4,000 or 5,000 calories. The next day you might consume 3. The next day you might just be like, I'm not really feeling it. Consume about 2,000 calories. You'll be all over the map. So it's important to know where you stand and how much you should be eating on a daily basis. If you have that, you will have a set point in mind. And you kind of need that. Everybody needs a guiding star, whether you want to put on muscle mass or whether you're cutting. So that's just one thing to keep in mind, right? Make sure you're getting enough carbs and proteins. The way you divide it, it's up to you. I would recommend you get at least, I'd say probably 0.5 gram to 1 gram of protein, per pound of body weight. I myself, I weigh about 217 right now, and I'm only consuming about 150 grams of protein. And I honestly feel that it's sufficient for me to maintain muscle mass, to put on muscle mass, and just work out comfortably. Like I said, the carbs kind of play a bigger factor when it comes to really making gains. And, when you're bulking, at least. All right, so that being said, make sure you get a good nutritious diet in to build some muscle. Next thing you want to do is supplementation. I know I was just talking about how I don't really believe in proteins and a lot of the other things that they're selling. But the one thing that I will say for me is an X factor. And again, this is for all natural bodybuilders. If you're, taking enhanced, any type of drugs, any PEDs, obviously, you can disregard it, Yeah, maybe this isn't the right podcast for you because obviously, the things that you're going to do is going to be a little bit different. I don't really know how the anabolic side of things work, as far as artificially anabolic side of things work, just because, I've never tried it. I'm not experienced with it. And when it comes down to that stuff, you got to be a scientist. But if you are going to go down that road, make sure you get a coach. Make sure you get a physician watching you because there's a whole lot of things that can go awry. I myself, I don't want to go anywhere near that just because, it's honestly, it kind of scares me. Steroids, I don't know, man. Plus, I've seen a lot of guys just, aside from the fact that it looks like a pizza exploded on their back, I've seen a lot of guys go through depression. Seen a lot of guys with a whole bunch of weird things, One dude I talked to said he couldn't get his dick up anymore. I'm like, no, that is not what I'm about. I'm about making it bigger, not making it not work, right? So, again, whatever you want to do, it is up to you. For myself, it's something that I don't really want to dabble in, nor do I really have any, curiosity for it anymore. When I was a kid, though, when I was 18, 19, man, I swear I was like, you know what, I want to be a bodybuilder. I want to try it out. But then I saw the price tag and I was like, oh, hell no. I don't want to spend $400 on this. It's too expensive, man. But, I just found it too scary for me. But again, if you want to try it, and, by all means, man, I got nothing against it. Every single bodybuilder, most of the YouTubers that you watch, most of those guys are enhanced, right? So just word to the wise, but if you do want to try it out, or if that's the road that you want to go down, then, hey, you know what? The nutritional side here will still apply. And you know what? You could probably up your calories by a whole lot if you wanted to, because your body's going to be functioning at a whole nother level. But that being said, back to us natural lifters. The supplement that I would recommend above all else for anybody that is natural, you want to take creatine. Creatine for me has been an X factor over the years. I've seen guys take creatine and get really, really fat. I had one buddy put on like 40 pounds of fat mass. He just looked all puffy, looked all weird, right? So, one thing to keep in mind, it is important to get yourself a good creatine. The one that I would recommend is just get a creatine monohydrate. Get one that doesn't have anything else in it. If you are, like, let's say if you're big into fasting or you like intermittent fasting, you want to take a creatine monohydrate that's got no calories. It won't spike your insulin. Your blood sugar won't go up when you do take it, right? And you can train fasted like a lot of guys do. Like, I like to train fasted, even though right now the creatine that I have, I just got the cheap stuff from Walmart. I got the Creatine X3 by Muscle Tech. Go now to Walmart to get the Creatine X3. No, this stuff is $17. It's basic creatine monohydrate. Right now I'm bulking as well, which is why, it's something that I was talking to my client about. And, I've decided to go the clean route when I bulk now versus how I used to before. We'll talk a little bit about dirty bulking in a bit, but the reason why I take creatine is honestly when you want to be pushing in that, I would say that anaerobic side of things, you're let's say you're about 8 to 12, 8 to 12 reps, which is what I recommend. We'll get into training in a bit too. But, when you are training in that 8 to 12 rep, creatine just helps me to go to another level. It's always helping with my strength. It's always helped me to really push heavier weights for longer. I don't feel as tired. I feel strong. I definitely recommend creatine as one of the few supplements out there on the market that actually work, guys. If you actually want to take something that's, the most bang for your buck, creatine is where it's at. Creatine cannot be denied. There's tons of studies that have proved that creatine, is awesome. It works for you. And again, I know I was harping a lot about natural sources and that you should get it from a natural food source, but I think if I'm not mistaken, you would have to eat about 10 steaks to get as much creatine as you get from the synthetic form. Right, so 10 steaks, that'd be a whole lot of calories. Let's say, I don't know how big the steak would be, but that's like 600 calories and 10. That'd be like 6,000 calories. It'd be a little bit excessive. Granted, there are people that could probably do it. Like I said, the enhanced dudes, they could probably do it. But that being said, if you just want to, keep it natural, keep it safe, not go way over the top with your calories, try to get, scoop of creatine in you. 5 milligrams. Hey, you know what? That's more than sufficient. Some people argue that you need to load it for the first week, where you take about 3 times as much or 4 times as much for the first week. Ultimately, it's up to you. What I do my first week is I do take 2 scoops. And then after that, from my time on, that I'm doing my bulking or, the whole bulk phase for about 2-3 months, what I'll do is I'll just take the 1 scoop and I'm good. I'll be done with it. The one thing I would recommend with creatine and pretty much any facet of life is to drink a lot of water. It's been said that it can affect the kidneys negatively, so you want to make sure you get enough water in. I always try to get about 4 liters of water in. I don't always do it, to be completely honest, guys. I am busy and sometimes I forget to. Even if you're able to get 2 liters in, hey, you know what? That's better than nothing. Try to go for 2 to 4 liters of water every single day. So again, you want to eat good, nutritious food with all the micronutrients that you need. Keep your macros in check. Know calorically how much you're consuming. And as far as supplementation goes, I would say creatine above all else. If you are a skinny guy, also known as an ectomorph, you may want to invest, into a mass gainer, right? If you are kind of on the other side of things, like an endomorph, which is you put on weight easily. I'm a combination of meso and endo, and for me, when I take any of those mass gainers, man, like, it affects me negatively, right? I just start to put on fat mass. And we'll talk about that right now in clean versus dirty bulking, right? So if you're an ectomorph and you have a lot of trouble putting on weight, like you're the type of guy that can eat McDonald's all day, every day, eat 10,000 calories a day for a week, and you don't even put on a pound of fat, hey, you know what? Kudos to you. Your metabolism's built different, right? But that being said, if you want to dirty bulk, it would be more understandable for you. if you are a skinny guy that has a hard time putting on weight and you just got to basically inhale all the food around you, I would invite you to watch Frank Yang's video where this guy did 10,000 calories a day, I think, for like 3 months or something. And he was a skinnier dude. Did put on muscle mass, though, right? So some guys, hey, you know what? You just kind of got to make that sacrifice to really stimulate your muscles to grow, right? But that's not everybody. And, it's not necessary for everybody either, right? That being said, if you are on the skinnier side of things, you probably do want to consume, like I recommended 500 calories. You may have to eat about 1,000 calories. You may have to, consume more protein. You may have to consume more carbohydrates too, keep the fat, on bottom level. Fat is not bad though, guys. Avocados will not hurt you if you do eat them. So just make sure that you do consume more of a surplus if you are on the lighter side of things. Now, if you're an endomorph and you're consuming, an extra 1,000 calories, you may start to put on a little bit more fat mass than you probably want, right? And ultimately, it's up to you. Some guys just like to let go completely and just bulk and just dirty bulk and just be like, hey, you know what? I'll take whatever muscle mass that I can put on, and I don't care if I put on 40 pounds of fat. If that's you, then you can totally disregard it and just eat as your heart desires. Now, if you want to make sure that, I, for myself, like to, even when I'm bulking, I like to make sure that I can still see my top abs. I don't want to be, completely fat, completely bloated. It's harder over time. And as I've gotten older, I've noticed that, the weight doesn't come off as easy as it used to when I would just cut for the summer. It's more of a drag. It's more of a hassle. I can't afford to just eat as much pizza as I wanted to before, right? And if that's you, if you're in the same boat as me, I would highly recommend that, when you are bulking or looking to put on muscle mass, concentrate on eating that nutrient-dense food that has all the micronutrients you need. Another thing that I'll add to the supplements that I forgot, as far as creatine goes, is also multivitamins help big time too, guys. Not everybody's getting all the vitamins they need, especially in the wintertime if you live here in North America. Or in Europe in certain places, you may not be getting enough vitamin D as well. So you know what? If a multivitamin helps, I would highly recommend it. I found that it helps for myself. I do take magnesium. I take zinc. That's pretty much all I'm taking right now. And creatine. And a multivitamin. Right? But that being said, you do got to eat in accordance to a way that won't affect your body negatively. So for all the endomorphs out there, consuming a crap load more calories, it may be detrimental to you. For the ectomorphs, eating more calories may be just what you need. As far as cardio goes, even if you're ecto, I still recommend you do a 5 to 10 minute, warm up, but you don't want to focus too much on cardio. Next up, endomorphs. For you guys, I would say, hey, try to still get at least 10 minutes of cardio in, but focus more than anything on your nutrition, and you don't have to do cardio until you really want to cut. But that being said, it's still good for your heart. Mesomorphs, you guys too. Granted, a true mesomorph, you guys are blessed with just insane genetics. Just pure mesomorphs are the guys who are just they're shredded. They look like Greek statues. Even when they eat like mofos, like I said, one client I work with, he just wanted to put on muscle mass. This guy did not care about his diet at all, none whatsoever. Incredible body. And I was just helping the guy build muscle mass. We were really focusing on building strength, building more mass. And this guy just said that, hey, my diet's irrelevant. I can eat whatever I want and I look like this. He's like, the only thing that changes, in the wintertime, he's like, I just tend to get a little bit heavier. But his abs fade a little bit. That's pretty much it. He goes from shredded vascularity, vascularity in his lower abs to, not being vascular. That's it when this guy starts bulking, right? So again, for mesomorphs, you guys are blessed. But that being said, even a true mesomorph can get fat, right? I've seen that too, where it's like, hey, was a star athlete, keeps eating the way he was. If you overconsume the calories or underconsume the calories, your muscles will atrophy a bit. Not atrophy, but they will shrink up a little bit, right? Or, you eat too many calories and you're just going to get fat. A lot of guys just go obese because they keep eating the way they did when they were, practicing their sports, right? So it's one thing to keep in mind, whether you are ecto, endo, or meso, it's irrelevant. You got to make sure that, well, it's not irrelevant. We just talked about how, you should be eating in a different way. But, it's important that you keep in mind that your calories do matter, and they will matter for everybody as an individual, right? So it's one thing to keep in mind at all times that you are an individual. You kind of have to experiment with certain things that will work best for you and the things that won't, right? If you're finding that eating, 1,000 calories is helping you to build upper body mass or lower body mass, well, you're just mass in general. But, you're consuming an extra 1,000 calories, you're an ectomorph, then hey, stick with it, man. Stick with it. If you find that you are an endomorph and that eating 1,000 calories hasn't really affected you negatively, your strength has gone up and you can see your muscle bellies, your muscles starting to get bigger, then by all means, stick with it, right? Stick with it. And if you're a meso and you're just eating whatever you want and you keep making gains, well, I'm just jealous. Oh, gosh, it's the truth of the matter, I'm just jealous of the guys that just put on muscle mass and don't have to worry about gaining fat at all. But if that is you and that is the case, just understand that, there are pitfalls too, right? If you keep eating junk food over time, that's going to do all kinds of damage to you internally. So it's always important to eat good nutrient-dense foods regardless of who you are, individual status. Like, it doesn't really matter. It's obviously it plays a factor, right? But body type and all that is relevant, but you just got to make sure that you're eating in a way that best suits you and your lifestyle. All right, so let's jump into the training. Just quickly now, if you do want to build more muscle mass, what I would suggest right off the bat is find a hypertrophy style training regimen that's simple in its approach. Right? Something that's simple. I'm not talking about having like 50 different fancy moves. A lot of times guys get caught up in that. I would say choose about 3 or 4, man. 3 or 4. It's I'm not going to say it's very boring. It depends on who you are, right? I would suggest you do some like German high volume training, right? Which is 10 sets of 10. If you find that that's too much and you'd rather do 5 sets of 10, by all means. You do want to focus on compound lifts. Compound lifts will force, more muscles to work. Will have better circulation in the body. And if you're doing any exercise like deadlifts, squats, you will find that, testosterone and GH will go up, especially when you're doing heavier weights. Your body will release that more, right? And if you have higher levels of testosterone, you will be able to develop muscle mass along with growth hormone. You'll be able to develop that muscle mass a lot faster. You don't want to do yourself a disservice by using weights that you can go up to 15 reps. Do not do that. You want to train with weights that are relatively heavy, but that you can still do with good form. If your form isn't perfect on your last set, hey, congratulations, you're doing it right. Right? Obviously, you do want to watch your form. You don't want to be swinging your back around when you're doing bicep curls. That's an injury waiting to happen. I'm not saying that either. But what I am saying is that you do want to get to that point where you're pretty fatigued, right? You do want to make sure that when you're done your workouts, you feel a little bit of soreness. That is not bad. If you do feel DOMS or delayed onset muscle soreness after you've been working out, after you've done leg days, that's okay. Your body will start to adjust and you will get stronger as a result. A stronger, bigger muscle is what we're after here. The other thing that I would say, you should concentrate on, right? So rep range, I would say you would want to do anywhere from 8 to 12. As far as the sets go, I would say do anywhere from 3 to 5. How many movements you do and what you choose, well, that's kind of up to the individual. Some people may want to say, hey, you know what? I want to develop better muscle peaks. So I'm going to do spider curls, preacher curls, and but I'll still do, let's say, chin-ups or pull-ups for muscle mass, right? And I'll do, those sets as an intro. And then, let's say for that his last exercise, he may do a cable exercise. And cable exercises are excellent to do at the end of the workouts, I find, or at the beginning. The reason why I like them, though, at the end is that I find that it really stretches the muscle out and allows me to just kind of engorge it with blood. I will go a little bit lighter at the end and focus on volume, but I will focus on holding, the the exercise for a little bit longer. And the reason why I hold it is I want to just fill it up with blood. Like I just want that, like a little bit of an isometric hold at the end of every movement that I do, because I find that, you know what, that just gives you a better pump. You know, you mix that up with, you know, some good solid food after you're done training. Oh, baby, you know, it is an excellent way to build muscle mass faster. You will find that your muscle will be more pumped. You know, you will definitely feel that pump too. So I would highly, highly recommend that you guys do that when you're training as well. The other thing that I would recommend is make sure that you stretch the muscle out. You know, before, during, and after your training, you want to make sure that you're stretching. Not overstretching. You just want to make sure that you're stretching it out, get good circulation going in. You know, this will allow more blood to flow into the muscle, which will lead to a bigger pump. A bigger pump will lead to a bigger muscle eventually. The micro tears that will occur on the different muscle sites that, you know, you do train will allow for that muscle to grow, right? So just make sure that you are doing that, and make sure that you progressively overload. If you get to the point where you're able to do 4 sets of 12 with the weight that you were doing last week, then you know what, it's time to bump it up by either 5 to 10 pounds. It's recommended that if you're doing dumbbells, you bump it up by 5 pounds. If you're doing a barbell exercise, you bump it up by 10 pounds. Honestly, the progressive overload that you choose, I mean, you could choose 2.5 pounds. It doesn't really matter. It's up to you. It's up to you, but you want to make sure that you are progressively overloading whatever exercise that you are doing. You know, that's what's going to result in a bigger, stronger muscle, and a muscle that will grow, aka hypertrophy will occur. And like I was talking about before, you know, I was talking about isometric holds at the end of whatever exercise that you're doing. So, for example, if you are doing, let's say you're doing a chest press, incline chest press with the barbells, or dumbbells, my bad. You could just hold it right at the end, right? You get to the bottom, just hold. You know, hold that for about 1 or 2 seconds. You know, you could hold it at the top. You know, you just hold that. Hold it wherever, you know, you feel that you're going to get the most pump out of it. You know, if I'm doing, let's say, bicep curls, you know, preacher curls, the same deal. Like, I'll hold it, you know, right kind of midway where I'm kind of getting close to the bottom as the weight's coming down on the eccentric phase. You know, and I'll just hold that because I can feel that pump. You know, I can feel the vascularity start to show up. You know, I can see the vascularity start to show up, right? And that's kind of what makes the magic happen, guys. You got to break that muscle down. Break that muscle down and allow the growth to occur. Obviously, you do want to be careful. You know, you don't want anything to snap. So you got to make sure that you're playing in a healthy range. You may want to drop the weights a little bit for this too. You know, and if you feel that it gives you that pump that you're looking for, hey, you know what? You're doing it right. You're doing it right. The other thing that I will talk about as well as far as training goes is you do want to focus on the eccentric phase of the workout. So what is the eccentric phase? Concentric, you're going up with the weight. Eccentric, you're going down, right? So you will find that you will be a lot stronger in the eccentric phase of any exercise that you do, right? Your body can control it better. Your muscles have, you know, an easier time with it. And then the concentric part where, you know, you got to, let's say if you're doing squats and you got to boom, pop back up, you know, that's kind of where it becomes a little bit more difficult. You know, most people can handle the weight going down. But coming up, that's where the magic happens. Granted, if you are an athlete, most athletes want to concentrate more on the concentric phase, right? You want to focus on the concentric phase and you don't really care about well, take that back. It is important. You know, it depends on what sport you're playing, right? Like I'll see power lifters, you know, a lot of them just focus when they're doing deadlifts, 100% concentric, and they throw the weight down. Like they're just not interested on the eccentric phase for deadlifts, you know, or whatever exercise they're doing. Like if you look at a lot of Olympic lifting, it's all about concentric, man. And then boom, just drop that weight down. You know, that's kind of irrelevant, right? Or not irrelevant, but it's not something that they're looking for. They're looking for pure strength. Now, if you're looking to build muscle, that eccentric phase is money, man. I mean, if you've ever trained past failure, what you could do is always get a friend to help you out. Like if you're doing curls, and he'll just kind of bring that weight up for you on the concentric phase, and you just kind of slowly come down. You just hold it, squeeze, you know, boom, and then you go down, and then buddy helps you up again. Now, these will make your arms burn, right? Because you're already past the GTO side of things. Like, you're already exhausted, right? Your arms can't even bring the weight up. But But, this is where the magic happens, because you're breaking down that tissue, past the point that your body's naturally accustomed to being, right? You're taking it to an extreme. And when you do this, your body has no choice but to recover, because your body wants to say, hey, you know what? I know what it was like to deal with that stimulus. I want to be ready next time, right? So in order for it to be ready for it next time, it's got to break down that muscle tissue. It's got to let protein synthesis occur, with the micro tears or whatever. But you will come back stronger. And that is the whole point of doing eccentric phase training post failure, right? So it's a great way to put on muscle, guys. If you've ever done it, oh, buddy, it is extremely difficult. I wouldn't recommend it for legs. Oh, man, for legs, not so much, right? Legs, you kind of got to be a little bit more safe. And I don't want anybody to die doing front squats or something. So make sure you stay safe in the way that you train as well. But obviously, do push yourself as much as you can in the safest way possible. All right, guys. So that pretty much does it for me. And that's pretty much a basic overview of how to put on muscle in a good, safe way. And that's pretty much it for now. If you guys have any questions, again, reach out to me. You guys can sign up at masculinehealthsolutions.com as well. I will have the ebook coming very, very, very soon, which is a basic penis enlargement program, right? There is a free program up on the website. You can check out the article as well. But the ebook it's going to go through different phases, and I'll have different things such as supplements, different workouts, the explanation of certain exercises, and all that jazz. So if you sign up now, you will get a promo code as well, which will give you percentages off. All right, guys, that does it for me. I've been your host, Conrad Rodriguez, personal trainer and coach. If you guys need anything, make sure you give me a holler. All right, guys, stay safe and train hard. That concludes today's episode here at Masculine Health Solutions Podcast. If you do have any questions, make sure you check out the website at masculinehealthsolutions.com. All kinds of articles, working on some more good stuff coming this week. If you have any other questions, let me know there. All right, guys, stay safe.